Passing on a business to the next generation is hard in the North Country. So hard that there are whole branches of nonprofits in the area that work on this, keeping farms, stores, restaurants, woodlots open when an owner is ready to step away. One farm in the Champlain Valley is trying to forge its own path by creating a cooperative to carry on the torch. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the Wild Center in Tupper Lake, dedicated to strengthening visitors' connections to the natural world. More at wildcenter.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Monday, June 23rd. First up, state officials say New York is beefing up security as the war in Iran intensifies. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
Governor Hochul says the state is on high alert after Iran launched missiles at a U.S. airbase in the Middle East. That includes roads, bridges, airports, mass transit, and electrical facilities. The state is also watching out for cyber attacks.
We have highly professional individuals who are stepping up to do what they've been trained to do, and that is to protect our homeland and to protect the people of the state of New York.
Hochul says there currently isn't any credible specific threat against New York. The governor says she's spoken with more than 100 religious and community leaders. She says the state will increase security patrols around mosques and synagogues. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
A first-of-its-kind piece of legislation addressing mental health for law enforcement has been passed by New York lawmakers and is awaiting Governor Kathy Hochul's signature. The bill creates a paid leave option for state troopers who experience a traumatic incident while on the job. Our Albany reporter Jung-Yoon Han has that story for the New York Public News Network.
A bill that passed in both the New York State Senate and Assembly would require state troopers to receive at least 20 days of paid leave if their actions result in someone's death or serious injury. Troopers who were involved in similar incidents but did not directly cause harm would get 15 days of paid leave. State Senator Jeremy Cooney sponsored the mental health bill with the support of troopers. The Rochester Democrat says the law would give troopers time to process trauma without having to take unpaid leave or vacation time to do so.
Our law enforcement officials who are on the front lines are witnessing very traumatic events, whether it's the death or serious injury of a civilian or of a fellow officer.
Cooney says to his knowledge, the paid time off policy for traumatic incidents is the first of its kind in the country.
When you come back to the force, you are ready to better serve our community. And we believe every law enforcement organization should be able to have this, but we want to start with our state police in New York and become a model for the rest of the nation.
The bill is one of more than 800 pieces of legislation awaiting Governor Kathy Hochul's signature. In Albany, I'm Jung-Yoon Han for the New York Public News Network.
Building a farm into a successful business is hard enough. Figuring out what happens to it once you retire can be even harder. In today's North Country at Work story, we're headed to a farm in Willsboro to talk about succession planning. The couple that owns it wants to turn it into a cooperative. Amy Feiereisel has our story.
Bread is really the heart of Triple Green Jade Farm.
We started with bread because that was one of the things that we thought could be a good niche.
That's Dan Rivera. He and his business partner and wife, Kimmy, bought the farm, 80 acres of rolling green fields and forest in the Champlain Valley, back in 2014.
Organic flour was kind of our thing, and there weren't many bakers at that time using organic flour, and we kind of found our audience.
I meet Dan in front of a barn-like structure that he calls the breadery.
Oh, wow.
I got stuff everywhere, so...
So this is the breadery.
It used to be a garage, but the Riveras have turned it into something that's part bakery, part commercial kitchen, part instructional space.
So we have a 5-foot by 7-foot wood-fired bread oven. We can do about 35 sourdoughs at a time.
There's a big 3-bay sink and a huge butcher block island where the Riveras teach cooking and baking classes. They have their own stone mill.
There's 2 stones. There's a running stone and a bed stone, and they're Vermont granite, and they weigh about 600 pounds. And that enables us to buy wheat that's only 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away, and we mill it, and it goes into the breads, or it goes into everything, really.
Dan and Kimmy have spent the last 11 years growing the breadery and the rest of the farm into a business. They also raise cows and pigs and chickens. They sell their products and stuff they make from other local farms at the Saranac Lake Farmers Market on their own property and at a storefront they opened 2 winters ago in Westport.
Kind of take all the raw materials that we can from either our farm or other local farms, like organic vegetables, let's say from Juniper Hill, and create all kinds of value-added foods with them, be it soups, chicken bone broth, chicken liver pate to go with breads and baguettes.
It took a while, but the Riveras have figured out how to work solely on farm, as in they don't have other jobs to pay the bills. But they also came into the venture with some resources. They used to live in the Hudson Valley, and for a long time, Dan worked in corporate America in marketing and e-commerce. They bought this farm because they wanted a different life. But Dan knows that's not something that's possible for everyone. Rivera says starting a farm is getting harder and harder.
Essex County has those challenges as far as farmland access for young farmers, affordable housing, and people that want to be somewhat entrepreneurial.
Those are things Dan says that he and Kimmy started thinking about a lot in the last few years as they started talking about succession planning and what would happen to the farm after them. The Riveras are in their 50s, don't have kids, and something felt off about just selling the farm for the highest price they could get.
Rather than just sell the land to the highest bidder, how can we bring more people onto the land because it's so hard to access it? How can we bring more people from, minorities? And, I'm Puerto Rican, so, those kind of challenges do exist, up here in the North Country.
That's how they got to the idea of turning this 80-acre farm into a cooperative. The Riveras want to welcome other families to join them here as co-owners of the land and the business. Dan says he's always felt strange about hiring employees.
That never really jived with me, only because if I had someone working alongside me, I always felt that they could be doing this themselves.
He says he doesn't want to be the boss of other people, but he'd love to see this land really utilized.
We don't do vegetables like we probably could. So if somebody wanted to come and live here and grow vegetables, it's perfect.
He can imagine someone raising more cows or sheep here for meat or cheese making, artists to paint the landscape, accountants to do the books, folks who want to do more with prepared foods. He says he'd happily teach someone everything he knows about baking.
The eaters are here in Essex County and the Adirondack Park. The locavores are here.
Rivera says he knows a cooperative isn't a conventional approach, but he has done his legal homework with the help of the Food and Law Center at Pace University and the Cooperative Development Institute, which helped Ward Lumber in nearby Jay become a worker-owned cooperative. He says it also helped him to learn that he's not the only farm owner thinking this way.
They were like, more and more people are looking to kind of do this kind of thing. There's a movement kind of simmering where cooperatives really fit.
The Riveras started telling people about their intention to shift to a cooperative on Earth Day of this year, which was April 22nd. Dan says they've already heard from interested people. They've even set up some farm visits. But he's expecting this venture to take time, 10, even 20 years.
It's going to take a while. We got to build houses. We got to, there's a lot of things. Even though I'm only 53, it's not too bad to start now.
Rivera says a lot has changed for him since moving to the North Country and opening Triple Green Jade Farm, including a bit of his outlook on life.
In the beginning, it was left the corporate world and started from scratch and rugged individualism. But now it's like we all need rugged collectivism. We need everyone to work together.
And the Riveras are hoping to help create a place for that to happen. Amy Feiereisel, North Country Public Radio on Triple Green Jade Farm in Willsboro.
This story is part of NCPR's North Country at Work project. It highlights stories about work from around the region. If you have a story in mind, we really want to hear it, and this is how we get our leads for a lot of these stories. Just text the word NEXT to 315-978-6277. Again, text the word NEXT to 315-978-6277 with a tip for a North Country at Work story. You can also email us, work@ncpr.org. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.